Hey, what is going on, guys? This is the SS Ultimate Goku back with another video, and today I'm going to be talking about what y'all have been waiting for me to talk about. Um, Now I have been briefly discussing it in the Discord server, my Discord server. For anybody who hasn't been in my server, feel free to check it out. But I kind of wanted to wait a little bit to make a video talking about this just because I wanted to feel out what Ben Singer and Wiz and Chad Boomstick were going to say and what was going to be coming out in terms of the rules and how they were going to construct this death battle. Because that obviously is going to play a factor in this fight. That being said, as I have talked about, and I just want to, because for anybody who doesn't know, the death battle, if you haven't seen it on the display right here, the next death battle that they're doing is Ash Ketchum from Pokemon versus Yugi Muto from Yu-Gi-Oh! The original Yu-Gi-Oh! Series. So now I just want to put out this right here from the beginning. Everybody who is, a subscriber of mine or has been a subscriber of mine for a long time knows that I am a diehard Pokemon and a diehard Yu-Gi-Oh fan. Okay. I like both franchises. These two franchises were Saturday morning cartoon shows that I enjoyed as a kid. I still play the Yu-Gi-Oh card games to this day. Obviously, I play Pokemon. You guys know I get a bunch of Pokemon games. I don't play the card games, but I do play the obviously the Pokemon handheld games, and I still watch the series, even though the anime series isn't as good as it used to be. But you get the point. I'm a fan of both franchises, okay? So I want people to know that when I give my analysis, because I know we're going to get some people then here that be, oh, what the hell, I know the last time when we talked about Toph versus Gar, one of the most infamous death battles, not counting Goku versus Superman, because obviously that is the worst atrocities of death battles history. Goku beat Superman. Anyways, so the last time we were really invested into Death Battle series, when I was talking about two franchises going up against each other that I was heavily into, that being Toph Beifong versus Gaara. As you all know, I said Toph would win, and yes, I still believe Toph Beifong beats Gaara, by the way, for all you Naruto fans out there. I stand by that statement. But Yugi versus Ash. We did this, I think 6 years ago on Cartoon Fight Club. I was one of the researchers on that fight. Now, again, this is the problem with Yugi Muto versus Ash Ketchum, is you really have to set a certain rule standard for this fight. You can't just have them, fist fight each other, so to speak, because that's really not Ash and that's really not Yugi. That's not really what they do in their respective animes. Obviously, Yugi plays cards, Ash catches Pokemon. That's what they do. Okay, they're not typically fighters and stuff like that. That's not kind of what the story is about. Okay. So when we did Cartoon Fight Club, and again, I think the Journeys hadn't come out yet. I don't know. I'm trying to remember if we had. I still have to rewatch our the old Cartoon Fight Club because it's been a while since I watched it. But I believe he had just become Pokemon Master, or was just right before uh the Cartoon Fight Club episode had come out, when he had become Pokemon Master from the Alola region, or winning the Pokemon League. I'm sorry. So Journeys obviously hadn't been out yet. And on the Yu-Gi-Oh side, Dark Side of the Dimensions hadn't been out yet. That's another factor too. Dark Side of Dimensions hadn't come out yet. It wasn't even in production yet. When that Cartoon Fight Club episode came out. So there is a lot of outdated information on that in that terms, because a lot of new productions have since come out since then. But that being said, despite the new contents for both franchises that hadn't come out yet, I still do believe that we have the right winner. Yes, we would need to polish the research if we were going to redo that fight, because obviously there is new information that has come out for both Ash and Yugi. But that being said, I do believe the right winner still wins. The winner of that Cartoon Fight Club episode, which, spoiler alert, Yugi Muto won that fight. So here's the thing. Okay. Now, to my understanding, from what I'm understanding, they're not doing because one of the things that I thought they would do was do a 6-on-6, right? 6 Pokemon, 6 of Yugi's best monsters or whatever, dual monsters. Like I said, with the whole 6-on-6 thing, that was what I thought we were gonna do. They were gonna do 6-on-6. That's what we did. Best dual monster cards, fighting up against Ash's best 6 Pokemon, right? Which is kind of, again, we did that in the Cartoon Fight Club. That would kind of make the most sense to balance everything out. But apparently, the way they're doing it, from what I'm hearing, is they are going to be really nerfing both by doing it this way. So what the gist I'm getting here is that the cards will not be like restricted to cards. Basically, it will be all the dual monsters in Yugi's deck will basically, be allowed to be used. There will be no turn restrictions, so they'll be basically fighting like Pokemon. Basically, they will fight. There will be no turn restrictions and stuff like that, like in the card game. They're not going to use spell magic cards or, trap cards like Mirror Force, for example, which kills which would kill a monster instantly. They're not going to allow those, but they're going to just use the monsters as is, as if they're fighting a Pokemon with no restrictions. Basically, like when they were 5,000-year-old stone tablets in the story, right? That's how dual monsters originated in the storyline in the anime. So that's kind of what they're doing. And if that's the case, that kind of helps Yugi more. Again, Yugi, I think, does win. He's got the Mind Crush. He's got techniques that, with the Millennium Puzzle that Ash doesn't have. Ash is just a regular human. Don't get me wrong. Ash has some insane durability feats. I'm not going to deny it. He does have insane durability feats. All right. But he's not someone who's going to be able to beat someone who has these techniques. He's not. Because that's not how Ash is built. I mean, the guy was easily brainwashed. Okay. It's not that hard. Okay. Um, Ash also, like, technically he died in the movie. I mean, yes, he was brought back to life because of the tears and all that stuff in the first movie. But I mean, he did die. All right, from that blast. Okay. He was dead. He was brought to life because of the tears of the Pokemon. Okay? Not because Ash was strong enough to come back to life. That's not how that works. All right, because I've seen some people try to use the Mewtwo movie as like, oh, well, this proves that his durability is better than Yugi. No, it doesn't. The tears is what brought him back to life from everybody. That had nothing to do with Ash. Okay? That had nothing to do with Ash. Okay? But again, I'm not saying that he doesn't have insane durability feats, because Ash has crazy feats. Okay, for a kid human. Okay, for a kid human, he has some massive, impressive feats, but nothing like Yugi. Okay, Yugi has survived Shadow Games. He has survived, multiple times of possibly dying, through possibly almost being banished to the Shadow Realm multiple times. The Shadow Realm. The Shadow Realm, aka dying to your death. But yeah, I mean, if that's what I mean, because he's gonna have the Egyptian god cards, right? If he has the Egyptian god cards, there's nothing that's going to be able to stop, because if we're taking into account the Egyptian god cards from the anime, okay, and again, if we're taking into account the Egyptian god cards from the anime, okay, so look at this. All right, so these are some of the facts. Obelisk the Tormentor attacks and destroys. After tributing 2 monsters, it can destroy all opponent monsters and influence 4,000 damage. He also has infinite attack. After tributing 2 monsters, it can also gain attacks until the end of the phase. Now again, if there's no restrictions to monsters, then he probably can do that. Slifer Destroy Dragon. Attack and defense are equal to the numbers of the cards in controller of the hand manipulated by 1,000. Now again, if we're not using card restriction, all right, then I guess we're taking into account of the monsters that are on the field, right? It also can decrease the attack and defense of the opponent's monsters, destroying them if their attack and defense is reduced to 0 or less. Now this is the third one, right? Winged Dragon of Ra. Now, you guys all know, if you watch the Yu-Gi-Oh anime, you remember there were some crazy things that the Winged Dragon of Ra has that he doesn't have on the actual card. I'm talking about the real life card game, but also, the ancient text or whatever, right? You have to know the ancient text to summon the Winged Dragon of Ra, right? Attack and defense are based on the monsters it tributes for its summoning. Attack manipulation, it contribute all its controlling life points except 1 to increase its own attack power. Now, this is something Merrick did. Phoenix mode, it can transform, and all card effects are destroyed, and any monsters in the field pay 1,000 life points. Fusion mode, it can transform into a fusion monster with immersed attack and defense by paying life points. In the Yu-Gi-Oh anime, the god cards can are generally don't work on spell cards, trap cards, and monster effect cards. But it isn't necessarily absolute. There cannot be a target by like most traps like Mirror Force and Spellbinding Circle, but there are some exceptions. Certain cards are effective like other god cards are specifically targeted traps and can affect. So basically, if you're applying this to Pokemon logic, most attacks by Pokemon would be targeted attacks, and stuff wouldn't work on the Egyptian god cards. And I brought this up on my Discord. If that is the case, with the Winged Dragon of Ra, like I said, Pokemon effects would not work. So, like, for example, Pokemon that have like Thunder Wave or like Sleeping Power or like Poison attacks, for example, those in theory could be effects, right? Because, you know, according to the Winged Dragon Raw effect in the anime, because they're going by the anime version of Winged Dragon Raw, okay, because this is Yu-Gi-Oh anime, right? Um, by that logic, that means that any monster, any Pokemon that has attacks that have effects on them, that cause an effect specifically to the Winged Dragon of Raw, will not work on the Winged Dragon Raw. In theory, that's how it should work. So like if you try to use a Z move, if you try to use like, you know, those special attacks or whatever, like if you use the Terra basically, right? None of that shit, well, not that it would matter because Ash doesn't have a Terra, I'm sorry. But you get the point. None of that stuff would work on the Winged Dragon of Raw, okay? Because of the effect in the anime, okay, for Winged Dragon of Raw. Like, these are facts, okay? These are facts. And again, this isn't even getting into the Mind Crush thing, where he could literally crush Yugi literally crush Ash's mind, okay? So, we're not even getting into that avenue yet, okay? So, like, the way, if this is how they're structuring the fight, where all the cards, all the Yu-Gi-Oh cards can, like, basically do whatever they want. They're not cards in this. You know, they're basically fighting just like as Pokemon would fight. And, you know, there's no limit. Like, he doesn't have to do the heart of the cards and draw the cards, right? And that they're automatically already summoned to the field, right? And don't have to sacrifice. Like, so it's Duelist Kingdom rules, basically, right? If all that elements are in this particular death battle, Ash has no fucking chance in hell of winning. All right? There's got to be some bullshit fucking, like, voodoo crap going on if Ash Ketchum wins this fight. There's just no way. There's just no fucking way. Like, you were better off doing it the way we did it for Cartoon Fight Club, because then maybe you could have an argument with Ash. If Yugi was restricted to 6 Pokemon, or he was restricted to the card effects, or, you know, being restricted to summoning cards, and having to wait turns and stuff like that. Like, if you had to do that, then maybe Ash had a shot. Okay, even that I'd still disagree that Ash shouldn't win. But if you're going to allow every Pokemon to be used in this fight, and you're going to be allowing a Yugi to use every dual monster that he ever had in his deck, there's no way Pokemon wins this. Ash doesn't have a legendary. Yes, he has one mystical Pokemon, but he never caught a legendary. Yes, the writers sucked for doing that, by the way. Ash got screwed by never winning a legendary, but he doesn't have any legendaries. Now, if he had a legendary Pokemon, maybe this would make this a lot better for Ash. But he does, because obviously some of the legendary Pokemon are scaled like holy shit. Scaling. The scaling for some of the legendary Pokemon are crazy. But again, he doesn't have any legendaries, okay? I mean, his strongest Pokemon are probably Greninja, Charizard. I mean, he just got Dragonite in Journeys, and I would say that's a pretty strong Pokemon. Obviously, his Pikachu is OP as fuck. But I mean, those are probably some of his strongest Pokemon. I'm sure I'm missing some, but I'm just saying, just an example, those are probably some of his strongest Pokemon that he's got in his arsenal. And even then, I don't think any of them would scale to the Egyptian god cards. I mean, you could probably argue, like, what really is the attack and defense equivalency of where the Pokemon would be at for each dual monster. Like, for example, his favorite monster, the Dark Magician, he has 25,000 attack points and 21,000 defense points. What would that scale in, like, you know, a non-restricted card fight, a card fight into an actual Pokemon battle? Because this is essentially what it is. It's essentially Yu-Gi-Oh monsters basically doing a Pokemon battle, basically. That would be kind of probably one of the equivalencies that would have to be figured out. But if there's no restrictions, man, and you have those Egyptian god cards, that's all he really needs. All Yugi needs is the Egyptian god cards, and he wins. Because I don't see how any of even his strongest Pokemon can win. Like, I straight up don't see any scenario, especially in the rules that they have set up for this fight. Okay, which I wouldn't have done it this way. I think 6-on-6 would have been the best way to go about this fight. But again, this is Death Battle's rules, this is how Death Battle likes to do their little own make-believe rules. Hopefully there's no make-believe gravity formula shit like they did years ago. And they're going to what are they going to do that with Ash and Yugi now? Oh, yeah, we're going to make up some gravity formula thing. Right? Oh, God. That's the thing that I'm worried about, too, by the way. Also, by the way, I just want to say this right now, because I know Death Battle are used to... This is just a little nitpick here, by the way. This has nothing to do with the outcome of the Death Battle. I really hope that Death Battle gets Veronica Taylor to do this fight. Because I was just thinking about it, I'm like, wait a minute. They've brought back, like, voice actors that actually play the characters of the actual characters in the fight. They had Johnny Young Boss secretly play Ichigo in their Death Battle. They obviously had all the Ruby characters, have their actual voice actor come back. I want to see them bring Veronica Taylor as Ash. Because unfortunately, since 2006, she has not been the voice of Ash. That would be the one thing I would like to see out of this. Now, I don't know if it's possible, but that would be the one thing that would make this Death Battle my favorite Death Battle, no matter who wins this fight, even though I do believe Yuki should win, is if they got Veronica Taylor to voice this character, to voice Ash Ketchum, because this is the one chance we can have Veronica Taylor be Ash again. Okay, is with this Death Battle series. So that would be the one thing I would want to see, is if somehow they got Veronica. I don't know if they announced the voice actors yet, but that's the one thing I want to see from this fight. Regardless of the winner, I want to see Veronica Taylor voice Ash one because she can still do the voice. She still does it at cons all the time. She can replicate that voice perfectly. And she hasn't done the voice since 2006. Okay? So if they could somehow get Veronica Taylor as Ash Ketchum again, just for this one time, that would be the one thing. Ben Singer, you're probably not watching it because you don't probably like my channel. One thing you can do for me is please tell me you got Veronica Taylor to voice Ash Ketchum in your Death Battle. That's the only thing I need to see out of this Death Battle. That's the only thing I need to see. Even if they somehow get the wrong winner in this, because never know with Death Battle. I want to see Veronica Taylor as Ash Ketchum one last time, because we have not seen her voice officially Ash Ketchum since 2006. Okay? I want to see that. That's the one thing I want to see. You have one job. Wiz. You have one job. And that is to get Veronica Taylor to voice Ash Ketchum. Make it happen. Well, obviously, you've already had to have hired the people because, the animation is already done. But that's the one thing I want to hear. That's the one thing I want to see. out of this. But yeah, let me know what you guys think. Comment, rate. If you like this video, my videos, please subscribe. Hit the notification bell for latest content. Thank you. And that is about it. I am the S Ultimate Goku. I'm out of here. Peace. Also, make sure, besides my YouTube channel, to follow me on the Twitch, the Instagram, and I do have a Discord link in the description where we discuss various topics, including this one here. And now I'm out. Peace.